It started with a tweet, and within hours, Shedeur Sanders was at the center of a social media firestorm. The NFL rumor machine went into overdrive, with fans, reporters, and insiders scrambling to verify or deny what no one could ignore. A blockbuster trade might be brewing. As the internet exploded with memes, breakdowns, and mock trades, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about a player. It was about how digital chaos now dictates league narratives. Sanders, despite not starting a single game this season, had somehow become the most talked about man in football. What makes this frenzy more than noise is what it reveals. A league starving for transformative talent and a system that keeps tripping over itself to find it. The Browns' mishandling of Sanders has turned into a cautionary tale, one that could backfire spectacularly if he ends up on a smarter, hungrier team. If the trade materializes, the impact won't be subtle. It'll be seismic. The NFL is in full meltdown mode, and it all started with a rumor. One tweet, a whisper, a headline. That's all it took. Now the league is spiraling, and at the center of it is Shedeur Sanders. Yes, that's Shedeur Sanders. The young, talented quarterback who hasn't even started a game this season, but somehow has more buzz around his name than most active starters. Why? Because the trade talk swirling around him isn't just routine speculation. It's setting the stage for one of the most chaotic shakeups the league's seen in years. The Browns have him benched. Still, despite his talent, despite the pressure, despite the obvious. And while they continue to keep him sidelined like he's some long-term developmental project, the rest of the NFL is watching, waiting, and, for some franchises, plotting. And it's getting messy. Let's not downplay the situation here. Shedeur Sanders has become the storyline. What started as a vague tweet ballooned into a full-blown trade frenzy. Fans are analyzing roster fits. Analysts are doing film breakdowns of games he never played in. Memes, mock trades, Photoshop edits of him in every AFC jersey. It's all part of the social media circus. He's not playing, but he's everywhere. That kind of hysteria doesn't happen over nothing. People aren't stupid. They see the talent. They see the opportunity being wasted. And they see the Cleveland Browns doing what the Cleveland Browns always seem to do, squander it. This isn't just a misstep. It's a full-blown strategic failure. Cleveland drafted a gifted quarterback, praised his upside, hyped him up during the preseason, and then tucked him behind a wall of conservative play calling and short-term planning. No first-team reps, no consistent development path. Nothing. It's mismanagement in real time. And now it's public. The Browns have effectively turned Shedeur into a symbol of how NFL teams can hoard potential without ever actually using it. It's the "we're waiting for the right moment" excuse stretched to absurdity. They've created a situation where every week he doesn't play just makes things worse. Because every week, the rumors grow louder, the pressure grows stronger, and the window to fix it gets smaller. And while the Browns stall, other teams are making calls. The Ravens have come up repeatedly as a serious trade contender. And it makes sense. They're known for handling high-profile personalities. They've built successful offenses around dual-threat quarterbacks. They've shown they're not afraid of making bold moves if the talent is worth it. And in this case, it definitely is. Shedeur brings more than just raw talent. He brings presence. He's confident, media-savvy, composed. And while that kind of demeanor might rub some old-school GMs the wrong way, the smarter franchises understand the value of a player who can lead both on and off the field. That's why this rumor won't die. Because it shouldn't. People see the dysfunction. They see the Browns wasting one of the most intriguing young quarterbacks in the league. And they know this story doesn't end quietly. Either Cleveland finally wakes up and rethinks their entire approach, or someone else steps in and forces their hand. Because whether they like it or not, Sanders has become a trade asset with league-altering potential. He's not just a young QB. He's a reset button. For a franchise willing to take a swing, he could be the start of a new era. And what's wild is that amid all this madness, Shedeur hasn't said a word. No interviews. No cryptic social posts. No passive-aggressive shade. Just silence. That silence? It's powerful. It's calculated. It's a kind of silence that suggests he knows something's coming. that he's letting the noise build around him because he doesn't need to add to it. His name's already doing the work. And let's be clear, this level of buzz doesn't happen without real substance behind it. This isn't just hype. Sanders has the skill set. His arm strength, field vision, and football IQ are legit. He has the tools to change a franchise's trajectory if he's placed in the right system. That's not speculation. That's why teams are sniffing around in the first place. But right now, the Browns don't seem ready to face that. Instead of developing him, they're sidelining him. Instead of fielding serious offers, they're stuck in some sort of limbo. Too scared to let him go, but too cautious to play him. It's a classic case of a franchise paralyzed by its own indecision. And this isn't just about Sanders anymore. This is about a pattern that's all too common in the NFL. Young quarterbacks with elite upside being shelved behind veterans, with coaches waiting for the right moment. But the right moment doesn't come. It never does. And by the time the opportunity finally opens up, it's too late. Sanders' situation is exposing that dysfunction on a national stage. And the irony? The longer the Browns hold out, the more valuable he becomes. Because now he's not just a trade piece. He's a conversation starter, a headline, a challenge to the league's traditional quarterback pipeline. The trade speculation has taken on a life of its own. Every day, new theories pop up, new destinations, new mock packages. Some fans want him in Miami. Others say Pittsburgh. But the Ravens keep coming back as the most logical choice. It's not just their offensive style, it's their organizational approach. They know how to mold talent. They know how to support big personalities. And they don't flinch under media pressure. If the deal happens, it changes everything. It shakes up the AFC. It throws playoff projections out the window. It forces defensive coordinators across the league to spend sleepless nights figuring out how to contain a quarterback who hasn't even played a full pro game yet. And if the deal doesn't happen, then the Browns own whatever comes next. If they keep Sanders and continue to bury him, the criticism's only going to get louder. If they lose him for less than what he's worth, it's going to be seen as yet another botched decision from a franchise that's made too many. No matter how you slice it, this is a lose-lose for Cleveland unless they act decisively, and soon. There's still a slim window to make this right. But that window is closing, and the league knows it. The fans know it too, and they're not being quiet about it. Social media is flooded with threads, breakdowns, and endless free Shedeur posts. People want to see this kid succeed. They want the breakout. They want the trade. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's overdue. He represents the frustration of every fan who's watched their team mishandle young talent. He's the avatar for every bench player with star potential. And he's sitting at the heart of one of the most high-stakes, what-if scenarios the league has seen in years. And through it all, he just waits. Confident, calm, composed. As if he knows that the chaos around him is only temporary, and that when his moment comes, it's going to be undeniable. It's just a matter of where. Will the Browns finally wake up and change course? Will another AFC team swoop in and pull the trigger? Or will this saga drag out even longer, growing more absurd with every passing week? Either way, it's clear that the story of Shedeur Sanders is far from over. In fact, the real drama hasn't even started yet. If you've been glued to this saga like the rest of us, let us know where you think Sanders should go. Should the Browns give him the starting role, or cash in while the market's hot? Drop a comment below. Hit that like button if you think a trade is the best move, and subscribe so you don't miss what's shaping up to be one of the most dramatic quarterback moves of the year. Because when the league finally makes its move, everything's going to change. The truth is, the NFL thrives on spectacle. And right now, this is the show. The Shedeur Sanders saga isn't just dominating headlines. It is the headline. This is the drama people tune in for. Not the stats. Not the box scores. The storylines. The tension. The unknown. And Shedeur? He's at the heart of it all, without even throwing a single NFL touchdown. Because this isn't just a player versus franchise conflict. It's not even just another talent trapped in the wrong system story. This has turned into something bigger. A full-blown commentary on how the league treats young talent. How politics, egos, and outdated playbooks get in the way of actual progression. It's a classic NFL contradiction. Teams desperate for the next superstar quarterback while refusing to hand the keys to the one sitting right there, waiting ready. And somehow, the Cleveland Browns have managed to become the face of that contradiction. You'd think a team with this much quarterback trauma in its history would be the last one to mess up a situation like this. You'd think they'd recognize the chance to change the narrative, to finally do something right by betting on the future, not clinging to the past. But instead, they've benched Sanders. And worse, they've stayed silent. No real explanation. No roadmap. Just vague coach speak about development and the process. Meanwhile, the rest of the league is calling. Literally. The trade inquiries are not rumors. They're reality. Front offices are reportedly trying to find out what it would take to get Sanders out of Cleveland. And the Browns? They're reportedly hesitant. Still evaluating. Still not committing to a direction. That hesitation is starting to look a lot like denial. Because here's what everyone else can see clearly. Sanders is not a project. He's a star waiting to happen. You don't get this kind of attention by accident. You don't trend for weeks in the middle of the season just because of hype. There's something here. Something real. And the Browns either don't see it, or they're scared of what happens if they admit they've been ignoring it. That's what makes this story so wild. We've seen quarterbacks flame out before. We've seen busts. We've seen teams swing and miss. But this is different. This is a guy who hasn't even been given a chance to fail. He's not being outplayed. He's being overlooked. And that's a different kind of injustice. Especially when you look at the rest of the league. The AFC is stacked with teams who would kill for a player like Sanders. Teams with shaky QB situations. Aging starters. Rookies with zero upside. This isn't a league with too much talent. It's a league starving for innovation, desperate for a spark. So when you've got someone like Shedeur, smart, athletic, unflappable, it's no surprise he's become the most talked about trade target in the NFL. Because teams know. They see what's happening in Cleveland and think, give us 5 minutes with him and we'll show you something. That's the energy. That's the momentum. And yet, Cleveland is still holding him hostage to mediocrity. And the fans? They're over it. You go online, and it's not just speculation, it's frustration. Browns fans, league fans, even neutral fans, everyone's weighing in. Because this isn't just a team screwing up their own future. It's a reminder of how talent can get buried under politics, mismanagement, and flat-out stubbornness. It's not that Shedeur hasn't earned a shot. It's that he has, and they won't give it to him. And don't underestimate how much that resonates with people. This entire saga has turned into something symbolic. A player who's ready, but stuck. A league that wants him, but can't get to him. A team that has the answer, but refuses to ask the question. That's why this story has staying power. That's why every whisper of a trade deal blows up across social media. Because it's not just a transaction anymore. It's an event. A moment. And when it happens, because it will happen, it's going to shift the NFL landscape instantly. Especially if he lands somewhere like Baltimore. The Ravens have been in this conversation from the jump, and for good reason. They've got a culture that embraces big personalities. A coaching staff that knows how to scheme around strengths. A front office that doesn't flinch in the face of bold moves. It's not hard to imagine Sanders thriving there, because it's not theoretical. It's logical. If Baltimore makes the call and the Browns pick up, everything changes. That move would send a clear message to the rest of the league. We're not waiting for potential, we're building around it. And in doing so, they wouldn't just be gaining a quarterback. They'd be gaining a cultural shift. A new face. A quarterback who's already got the spotlight, and now just needs a stage. Because for all the memes, the rumors, and the chaos, one fact remains undeniable. Shedeur Sanders has it. That elusive unteachable it that separates guys who fill roster spots from the ones who define eras. And Cleveland? They're playing it like they don't know what they've got. Or worse, they do, and they still don't know what to do with it. That's the part that's driving people insane. There's no controversy, no legal issues, No locker room drama. Just a quarterback with elite upside, sitting on the bench while the team puts up middle-of-the-pack numbers and acts like this is part of some grand plan. Meanwhile, teams with playoff potential are refreshing the phone, waiting to hear that Sanders is on the block. The Browns are now in the worst position possible, too aware to act, too scared to commit. And every day they wait, the story grows. The rumors pile up. The pressure mounts. At this point, even a decent trade offer feels like a ticking time bomb. If they take it, it better be worth it. If they don't, they better have a plan. Because the fans are watching. The media is watching. The entire league is watching. Shedeur's next move could redefine how teams think about development, about patience, about how long you wait before saying, why not? Because wait your turn has become a mantra in the NFL. But when a player like Sanders is just sitting there, arm ready, head sharp, vision clear, what exactly are we waiting for? Teams like the Ravens don't wait. They build. They take chances. And that's why they're playoff fixtures while others flounder in QB purgatory. Cleveland has the player, but they don't have the plan. And that disconnect is about to cost them everything. When the trade finally happens, when Shedeur Sanders leaves that sideline and puts on a new jersey, it's going to be the loudest moment of the season. Not just because of what it means for the team that gets him, but because of what it says about the team that let him go. This isn't just about football. It's about trust, vision, and having the guts to back your talent when the moment comes. Shedeur's moment is here, and everyone knows it. The Shedeur Sanders saga isn't just dominating headlines, it's swallowing them. It's not a subplot in the NFL season anymore. It is the storyline, and the deeper it goes, the more absurd it becomes. Because here's what we're all thinking. How is this even happening? How is a quarterback with this much upside sitting untouched, while teams are out here recycling aging backups and praying for miracles from practice squad call-ups? It's wild. Every time you look at a team struggling to move the ball or hear a coach give the same tired, we believe in our guy speech after another 3-interception disaster, you think you could have had Shedeur. But no, he's still in Cleveland, still stuck behind a glass wall, while the league spirals into quarterback desperation mode. And let's talk about the Browns for a second, because they've turned this into a masterclass in organizational dysfunction. The signs were there early. Draft the kid, hype him up, talk about leadership, talk about long-term potential, and then bench him completely. No packages, no sub-ins, not even mop-up duty in blowouts. Just silence, week after week. It's hard to overstate how bizarre that is. Teams don't draft quarterbacks this promising and then act like they don't exist. That's not development. That's denial. What's even more maddening is that they're not shopping him. Not publicly. Not transparently. They're just sitting on him like a stock option they don't understand. Too scared to sell. Too unsure to use. Meanwhile, the NFL rumor mill is on fire. Reporters are circling like vultures. Analysts are practically begging for updates. Trade machine graphics are everywhere. And fans? They're losing it. Free Shedeur might as well be a movement at this point. Because everybody can see what Cleveland won't admit. This isn't just a benching. It's a waste. And not a small one. A league-shifting one. There's a reason top-tier franchises are circling. This isn't about potential anymore. It's about opportunity. Shedeur doesn't need years of grooming. He needs a system that understands him. A coaching staff that actually wants to build something. A locker room that recognizes leadership when it walks in. You think the Ravens don't see that? Of course they do. Their entire identity has been shaped by taking smart, athletic quarterbacks with presence and turning them into centerpieces. Lamar Jackson didn't fit the traditional mold either. And look what happened there. Now take that same playbook, give it to Shedeur. You're not just talking about a successful trade. You're talking about a seismic shift in the AFC. Let's say it happens. Let's say the Browns finally crack under the pressure. The trade goes through. Shedeur walks into a new facility with a staff that doesn't just tolerate him, but wants him. Suddenly, this isn't a what-if story. It's a warning to every team that sat on potential and watched it leave the building. Because make no mistake, once Sanders is in the right environment, it's over. The tape is coming. The highlights are coming. And when that first breakout game hits, when he finally steps on the field with real snaps and real weapons, you'll be able to hear the "we could have had him" cries echoing from front offices across the league. It's the same pattern every time. NFL teams think they have time, think they can wait, think talent will sit quietly until they're ready. But talent has a clock. And right now, Cleveland is wasting every second of it. What's Shedeur doing in the middle of all this? Nothing. Still calm. Still composed. Still letting the chaos swirl around him while he keeps his mouth shut and his head down. That silence is louder than anything he could post. He knows what's coming. And that's the part that's really got the league on edge. Because players in his position, young, benched, buried, they usually crack. They go to the media. They leak stuff. They get frustrated. But Shedeur hasn't budged. That kind of composure? That's not normal. That's dangerous. That means he's confident. That means he knows his time is coming. And that when it does, he's going to be ready. Meanwhile, back in Cleveland, the Browns are fumbling the optics. So badly, it's almost impressive. If they plan to keep him, they need to say that. Explain it. Justify it. Because right now, they look like a team paralyzed by their own indecision. If they plan to trade him, great, get serious. Stop dragging it out. Find a team. Make the call. Pull the trigger. But they won't do either. And that's the part that's going to haunt them. They're not being bold. They're not being strategic. They're being passive. And in today's NFL, passivity kills. The league moves too fast. Opportunities don't wait. By the time Cleveland figures out what they want, Shedeur might already be gone. Or worse, he might stay and rot behind bad play calling and conservative thinking until the moment has passed. You know what this all comes down to? Fear. The Browns are afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of what happens if they hand over the reins and things don't work. Afraid of looking foolish. So instead of taking a risk, they're doing nothing and pretending that's a strategy. But doing nothing is a decision. And it might be the worst one they've made yet. Because if Shedeur ends up on another roster and explodes, and let's be honest, that's the most likely outcome, Cleveland doesn't just lose a player. They lose credibility. Again. And the fan base? They're not going to be patient this time. Not after watching this unfold in real time. Not after seeing every sports show in America break down the same ridiculous question. Why isn't he playing? They want answers. They want action. And they want it yesterday. So here we are. A quarterback with elite potential, stuck in a system that won't use him. A team with no direction. And a league that's already moved on from wondering if Shedeur gets traded to when. There's still time to fix this, but not much. Every day that goes by, the Browns lose leverage. Every delay makes the eventual trade harder to justify. Every non-decision makes the fallout worse. And for Sanders, this storm is just building momentum. The hype is real. The talent is real. And when he finally takes the field, whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else, the NFL is going to feel it. So drop a comment. Where should Shedeur land? What team is bold enough to make the move? Smash that like button if you're tired of watching young talent get wasted. And hit subscribe so you're the first to know when this saga finally breaks wide open. Because when it does, you're not going to want to miss it.